Hello?
Hey, hey, Matt, it's so nice to talk to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Oh, no problem.
I'm a huge fan of your documentary. I watched it like 3 times. It's really beautiful.
Oh, cool. Thank you so much.
So much for reading with us.
Hi there. So you guys want to tell me a little about your project?
Yeah. So the plan right now is to walk to all of the 59 community districts over the course of May. And we're planning on like interviewing people, and my plan is to write like 59 very short songs, like maybe 10 to 30-second songs for each one, based on like the culture and like the people we talk to and the things I see. And
Cool.
Karana, do you want to explain your
Sure.
book?
My plan is I'm into photography, so to kind of learn more about that is to, as we like interview people, kind of maybe take a portrait or two of them, and then like make a book out of their pictures and like a little bit about them, like their stories,
Oh, that's awesome. That sounds like a super cool
like
project.
inspired by the Humans of New York type of thing.
Yeah, very cool. And you're doing that over what period of time?
We have all of May.
All of it. Very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, so what are there any particular things you want to talk about?
Yeah. So I guess one of my main concerns is that like 59 is a lot, and I'm not sure if I'll even be able to get to them, or even if I do, maybe not adequately explore each district. So do you think that like we should prioritize quality over quantity, or we should go with
Sorry,
59?
it just got fuzzy. I couldn't understand this last sentence too.
Yeah, do you think we should prioritize like the quality over quantity and maybe do less than 59? Like, is there a better way to subdivide the city?
Um, the thing I've learned is that, like, it's not like, you could think of the city in whatever kind of divisions you want, neighborhoods, community districts, boroughs, each of those things, there's not really like one thing
Mm-hmm.
that, represents like everyone who lives there. Even
Yeah.
in smaller groups, there's still
Uh-huh.
such a diversity of people.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes, if you read some article about a neighborhood or something, it's always kind of portraying it like this neighborhood has one particular characteristic that sets it apart. But really, everyone's so different anyway that, so to me, like I just always focus on the very individual things that I encounter,
Uh-huh.
whether it's a person or a place, a building,
Yeah.
the history of a building or whatever. And I've learned to try to like take all those things on their own terms instead of trying to use them as like a representative of something bigger. So
Yeah.
I think that even if you just talk to one person in each of the 59 community districts, that would still be cool because you'd be making sure you're like going to each part of the city
Yeah.
rather than like focusing on parts that are maybe easier to get to or have, seem to have more culture or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, to me, that would be kind of a cool way to do it because no matter how much time you spend, I mean, I've spent 12 plus years doing this and
Yeah.
like, I still don't know anything. So I think it's really more about like evenly distributing where you're
Uh-huh.
getting out to and just making sure you're talking to
Yeah.
people all over the city rather than like, am I really talking to enough people in this one place? Because it's never really enough
Yeah.
unless you talk to every single person there. So, so that's how that's kind of the thing about my project, Walking Every Block, is it makes every block equal.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
Times Square is exactly as important as some little dead end in Staten Island.
Yeah.
And it just has a cool effect when you treat the city evenly, like equally geographically, because it just forces you to go out to the places that you otherwise might be too inconvenient or something.
Uh-huh.
So that would be my thought on it. I mean, I know you only have a month, and so that's tough to get to all those places. So,
Yeah.
Whether or not it's realistic is a different question. But, personally, I think it's kind of maybe more important to get out and
Yeah.
see every little part than to like try to just hit a couple and spend a lot of time.
Yeah. So do you think any other way of dividing the city that might be more feasible?
What'd you say? Might be more.
Feasible?
Okay, wait, is my mic working better?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So he was asking, is there like a better way to subdivide the city, do you think? That might
Other than the community districts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you could. Yeah, totally. I mean, I'm trying to think if I don't know if there's like some already established set of boundaries you could use. Maybe like. I don't know how many. Maybe I don't know, congressional districts or something. Maybe there are fewer of those. Although those, because they're done by population, you probably have like a lot more of those in densely populated parts of the city.
Yeah.
So if you went to like every congressional district, you might be spending a lot more time in like the heavily populated places in Manhattan, and less so in like the farther out places, which in some ways might be more interesting because fewer people bother to go out and experience those parts of New York that are kind of farther out there. I mean, you could just literally like divide it up and figure how many kind of zones you want to go to, and just kind of
divide it up.
Geometrically divide the city up into like, okay, let's say 3 parts of Staten Island, 5 parts of Brooklyn, whatever, like just roughly the same area.
Yeah.
That would be a way of doing it. It's just that would be like you making up the districts, which maybe feels a little less official or something. I don't know, but or you could combine the community districts, like combine them into groups of 4 or something, and
that sounds like a good idea.
Group of 4, so that way you're still like using some real kind of boundary that exists.
Yeah, that
so
I
that
feel like that
would
could definitely help.
15 or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you
have
have
like advice on how to? Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Do you have
advice on how to like approach people?
Yeah, it's all about, and it just takes a little time. It's all about like being able to make people feel comfortable, and that's kind of based on you feeling comfortable. So, like, undoubtedly, the first few times you do it, you're just going to be nervous. Probably it'll be a little awkward. That's just like you just kind of have to get through that part. And then the first person who talks to you, that's going to make you feel a lot more confident. And then like the next person you approach, you're going to be, your body language is going to be a little more relaxed, and it just puts people at ease. Because like, people in New York, they're used to like people coming up to them on the street and trying to sell them something or like get them to sign up for something. So it's kind of a little bit of like, you just have to go through the tough part of it. I mean, for me personally, I find that one way that makes it easy for me to talk to people is if I have some question about, like, maybe I see something weird on like a house or something, and I genuinely want to know what it is, and maybe the neighbor's out in the yard. And then I find it's really easy for me to go up to that person and be like, hey, you know what the deal with that thing is? So that makes me kind of feel like if there's something you really genuinely specifically want to know, that can be easier than like, hey, I'm doing this thing. You want to just tell me about yourself? If you have like a specific question, for me that makes it a lot easier. But then you'll get, the more comfortable you start to feel, the better you'll be at it. But you can also kind of consciously try to relax your body language and kind of fake it till you make it, that kind of thing. You can kind of tell yourself, okay, I look like I'm tense or something. Let me just relax my shoulders. Let me just act as if I'm doing the most natural thing in the world. And then people kind of, if you act with that kind of confidence, people just kind of buy into whatever you're doing.
Do you find that people are usually receptive to talking?
It's, it just depends on the person. I mean, it also partially, it's like, what I've noticed weirdly is, I always seem to end up talking to more people in the afternoons. It's like people get more relaxed as the day goes on. Maybe they've like, maybe people had like an early work shift and they're at home from work instead of going to work. And it's also, different neighborhoods. I mean, if you're standing in Midtown and everyone's like rushing to their to get to their job or something, they're probably going to be less receptive to talking. Whereas if you're in a residential neighborhood, people out on the street in the middle of the day, they're probably not going to work. They probably have a little more time.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, a lot of it just comes down to the random person who happens to be on the street. You know, some people are really friendly, some people aren't. But I would say, like, it's just important not to be, like, discouraged if the first 5 people you talk to are all rude.
Yeah.
You know, it's really easy when that happens. It's really easy to feel like, oh, this is never going to work, you know. But the next person's, like, going to be super nice or something. So you don't want to start feeling defeated. And, like, you know, it kind of feels like just a little embarrassing or something if you try to talk to someone and they blow you off. So I find if you just accept that that's part of the process, it's nothing to feel bad about.
Yeah.
That helps you just say, okay, that person didn't want to talk, whatever. Like, I'll talk to the next person. But it's honestly, that's probably going to be like the best part of this whole project for you guys.
Yeah. It's meeting
having
people.
to go through those experiences and understand how to like deal with just people being rude or whatever, and then like finding out how you can put that aside, and then you can meet like the really great people right after that. And that's just a great like life lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to ask about my book. I'm kind of like struggling. Like when I say book, also it's not like an actual thing I'm gonna publish probably. But just like a compilation of the things we've learned, I guess. I'm like trying to decide if this should have a theme, and like if so, like what theme? Because like I don't want to just like take pictures of people and not have any like words about it, like Humans of New York does, because that's like they did that one time, wonder like I can't just copy what they did. But then like within the questions I'm asking people, like should I just like, do you think I should just like ask them like, you know, about their life, what's up, or if I should do that and then also have like kind of like one underlying theme throughout the whole book, like gratitude, like things people through New York are grateful for, like secrets, like things they're, I don't know, never told anyone, like something like that.
Yeah, I think it's cool. You definitely if like there's something that you personally are interested in, you know, it is good to have like I was saying before, kind of if there's a question that you really want to ask people, that kind of helps because I think they sense that you're really curious about it. But I also suspect that like as you talk to people, you'll start to understand what kind of questions people will open up to the most. And you might see themes starting to emerge from the people that you talk to. So it might be you talk to, you know, 5 people and you're like, oh, I didn't even think about that, but this is a thing that people kind of start talking about. So then you could start directing other conversations toward that. But they'll probably just be like, you know, like I've just noticed that, you know, I don't really go up to people just to get them talking. So I kind of, in some ways, I probably hear a lot more from the people who want to talk anyway. But I do find that there are a lot of people who, you know, there are a lot of people in the world who don't get asked questions about themselves and like feel like no one really cares about their stories. And so, you know, as much as you'll find people who just don't want to talk to anyone, you'll also find people who like never get a chance to talk to anyone. So people might just start opening up in ways that it's hard to predict. But you might just find that there's certain subjects that people start talking about, and then you could kind of shape your future questions around that. But I think you probably just want to have like maybe 1 or 2 really specific questions you can ask, because for some people who aren't like really outgoing, they might find it hard to just talk open-endedly about their life or their neighborhood or whatever. They might need more specific questions to get them talking. But then you might also find that some people like, you know, have you lived here a long time? What did the neighborhood used to be like? And like, that's all you need. And they'll just start going on about their life. It'll probably vary somewhat from person to person. But I think the more that a person feels like someone's just genuinely curious about them and their life experiences, then that makes them feel kind of respected, and it makes them feel like a sense of dignity. And then they'll probably want to share stuff with you because they feel like you actually care about them.
Definitely. Great advice.
So you would say for getting someone to open up, you really want to use something specific that shows that you actually care about them, and then they can kind of like use that to talk more about themselves.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, some people are natural talkers and they'll talk to you about anything.
Mm-hmm.
But some people who are a little shy or more hesitant, if you give them a really broad question, they might just give you a short answer.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you ask them something specific, that gives them something to focus on. And for someone who's not like necessarily a big talker, that might help them open up to you as like an initial question. And then, once you get someone talking, then they'll start then they'll start feeling more connected to you, and then things will start being easier. But sometimes it's that very first hurdle is just what's tough.
Yeah.
And honestly, just eye contact and smiling helps a lot,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to do that if you're feeling nervous, but if you can make yourself do it a little more, that just makes people feel like you're being more open with them, and then it's easier for them to connect with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I have a couple. Sorry.
Yeah.
I have a couple questions about how we choose where we're gonna walk, because I've started to work on walking paths, and I've been trying to do some research on which streets might be the most vibrant or the most go through the most neighborhoods. Do you have any specific streets in any borough that you would recommend? There's a lot of shifts, goes through residential, goes through more urban areas.
Yeah, it can be a little tough because you might think, I don't know. I mean, it's tough because sometimes the streets that have the most stores on, a big commercial street, it's going to have the most people on it for sure. But it's also might be more people running errands or something.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might be on a quieter street where there aren't that many people to talk to, but they're also the people you run into there maybe are a little more relaxed. So you probably just want to have a mix of, some mix of stuff to give yourself different opportunities.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, using Google Maps, it's pretty easy to see which streets are commercial because, if you zoom in a little bit, all the store names start appearing.
Yeah.
So that's a real quick signal of oh, this street is has stores lining it, or this street's just houses. And you can always flip the satellite view. And you can kind of get a sense if a place, residential, just maybe you see a lot of trees on the streets. You can kind of get a sense by just what the road itself looks like. It's, a wider road with lots of, you can kind of see more stops and just other stuff that gives you the sense it's a bigger road. And usually not all the time, but some of the more commercial roads, the larger roads, they look different in Google Maps. They're a wider, slightly different color or something. So, I'd say you just want to give yourself the chance to experience, quiet streets, easier streets. And what you might find is that after a couple days, you have a better sense of what works, rather than trying to plan it all out beforehand. You might find maybe it is the stores with all the streets, that's where everyone's talking to you, and that makes the most sense to do.
Yeah, and also just giving a chance to explore and go off the path is one of the most important things.
Yeah. So I think you're going to learn a lot on this project for sure, and just if the first couple days are kind of tricky, know that'll be part of the process. Don't feel bad about it, and it'll get easier as you go on.
Yeah.
And should we? I guess my last question is should we be worried about when does it become a violation of people's privacy? Because I was also kind of thinking should I make this maybe an Instagram blog compared to a book that would probably only be shown to my teachers who are grading it and a few other people.
Yeah.
I guess the main concern is when does that become a violation of people's privacy?
I think it's mostly up to the people. You ask them, you take their photo, and in this day and age, I think if people know you're taking a photo of them, they're probably thinking it's going on social media. But you could ask people what they're okay with. But personally, I feel like if someone, if I asked them if I could take their photo, like I wouldn't feel bad about putting it online, because I think that's kind of what people are assuming you're going to do with the photo. I mean, especially if, I guess the question of privacy comes down more to like, are you also putting their name with it? Information about them, or is it just a photo of a person? In which case, no one's going to know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to think what I personally would feel like if someone took a photo of me and then like sold it or something. I'd be like, wait, what? But if they just like put it on their Instagram and didn't even have my name or something, and that feels a lot.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't put names, but maybe I'd put like information from what they like say.
From what they said, yeah, sure. People are probably going to ask, they might even want to see their own photo, They might be like, where can I? So you might find that people are just asking you, like, what are you doing with the photos? Where is it going to be? But I think, like, a photo of a person outside when they've given their consent to have you take the photo, they're probably okay with other people seeing it. I mean, again, it'll depend on the people you talk to. I mean, some people in parts of Manhattan might have a different relationship to, like, their photo being on someone's Instagram, whereas, like, someone in a neighborhood that people don't really pay attention to, like, they might just think it's cool that their photo's up.
Someone's coming to... Yeah. And that's definitely, like, showing interest in, like, people who otherwise might never have, like, people in their neighborhood or people talking to them is, like, a big goal of this project.
Yeah, that's a very cool thing for sure. When my friend Jeremy is the one who made this documentary, and he was just a friend of mine, and he started walking around with me a couple years into my project, and he walked with me like on and off for probably 3.5 years. So he spent a lot of time with me, and we found that like there were a lot of neighborhoods where people were just like excited that there was someone there with a camera, because like the only time they ever see cameras there is like some crimes committed. It's like just always the news reporting on bad stuff. No one's like genuinely cares about the people there. So you'll probably find that varies definitely from place to place, depending on how popular an area is.
Yeah. What are you up to nowadays? You're still walking?
I'm still walking. I'm actually there have been like all kinds of there's been like a lot of new stuff built, in neighborhoods since I finished walking those neighborhoods. So I've had this like big kind of last checklist of little last things I have to walk. Yeah. As well as like just a handful of like full day long walks left over. So I'm down to like less than like a single digit number of walks left now.
Wow.
So I like really kind of honing in on it now. So I might be out of town a bit this summer, so I don't know if I'll finish, maybe May or June, or maybe wait till August, just save for the last bits.
Yeah.
But after that, I'm not sure. I'll probably try to set up like a bunch of talks at different schools and stuff. I've done some of that periodically over the course of the walk, but I might try to see if I can do a bunch of that at once and see how long that goes. And then I'll figure out after that what's next.
Really cool. Is there anywhere else that you have a goal of walking one day?
Anywhere else?
Any other country or route?
I've actually been thinking about. I've been thinking about doing another U.S. walk. Because just like my first one I did was in 2010, and it really helped give me a different perspective on the country, especially as like things have come to feel so polarized now. When you're actually out with people, meeting people, it doesn't really feel that way. I was just like pushing my cart and like knocking on people's doors, asking if I could camp in their yard, and like all these people were inviting me in for dinner and stuff, and people of all different like political positions and everything. So, like, as the country feels like more and more like stuff to explode,
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I want to have that experience again.
Yeah, it's also like very important to like show the other side and like show the kindness of people.
Definitely, absolutely.
Hmm.
So that's something I've been thinking about, but I think my mother would have a heart attack if I did that walking in. It was already like scary enough for her the first
Yeah.
time. So we'll see if I want to put her through torment again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something I've been thinking of, but I don't know if I'll do it or not.
Hmm. That sounds cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah, keep me posted on
Yeah.
if you have any other questions, or just also when you finish, I'd love to see what you guys come
Yeah.
up with.
Well, we'll probably she's gonna make a book and I'll make a website or something like that. So I'll definitely keep you posted. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem. Good talking to you guys.
Bye.
Yeah, have a lot of fun. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I think that went well.
Yeah, same. You think it's so nice?
Yeah, he was very nice.
It got me thinking, like, maybe I don't know. I feel like I would either do a book or a blog. And, like, I feel like a